All right, let's get into our next discussion now. Since the beginning of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, Nigeria has had to deal with low crude oil prices, and it has negatively impacted the nation's economy one way or the other through the few years.
Yes, indeed. And even the 2018 budget was benchmarked at $51 per barrel. But with the renewed boost in crude oil prices, Nigeria is now earning almost double its projected revenue from crude. Brent crude rose to $84.16 per barrel, with analysts forecasting a further increase to $100 per barrel.
That will be in 2019. Has Nigeria learned its lessons against reckless spending from the past, where it failed to save and plan for its future when crude oil prices was high? That's a big question. Have we learned our lessons one way or the other? We have economist Oluwashina Olubu joining us now from on Skype from Canada. Shina, good morning. It's good to have you join us right now.
Good morning. Yeah, how are you?
All right, good morning. Now, prices of crude is rising in Nigeria, and economists, everyone seem to be, including the government, seem to be optimistic that things are going to change. But what are the concerns, really, when this is not the first time we're having this kind of situation of oil prices rising? What are the concerns now?
Thank you so much. Now, when you see oil prices going up, it should be something that music so ordinarily, because it's Nigeria's mainstay as far as the economy is concerned, and is ordinarily supposed to bring some upside as far as the performance of the economy is concerned. But then again, if you look at the fact that it's not the first time that this is happening, if you look at history, we've seen times and times again when Nigeria had whereby oil was rocketing. But what we saw was sheer wastage and all. And I dare to say that given the structure we have right now and the structure of our budget process, the structure of our spending in terms of the percentage that we allocate to recurrent expenditure, what percentage we have that is deficit in the budget, I dare to say that there is not so much departure from what. So it's still the tip of the whole block. So because of I have my concerns in terms of what positives that increase oil prices would bring up. If anything, it might just increase the level of wastages and the amount of money that goes into private pockets like it's not it's but that so I mean that's in terms of how it affects the area and what my concerns that the next thing I would like to say again is that every analyst understands the rate of the level of the price of oil right now. It's more of influenced by supply side, not witnessing because demand the economy. And I always will not demand the pull or push maybe that price. You see the effect trying to control the production members, the price dancing to the tune of inventory level. You stand to the tune of sanction that they say that they want to impose. These are all supply to me. We should not.
Oluwashina Olubu is speaking to us from Canada there. We, right here in the studio, unfortunately, we're not able to really make good sense of what he's saying. There seems to be some kind of interference, but we'll try, yes, to call him back and see if we can have a better discussion. But you know what? Experts have actually been raising a concern that you know, this higher crude oil prices will not really save the Nigerian economy. You know, of course, he raised the issue of, you know, going back to what it has always been, wastages and all of that, and the whole idea of diversifying the economy. Government might just go to bed on that, and it will be business as usual.
It has happened this way before. In 2008, 2009, and 2010, when we had the highest level of
over $100 per barrel.
$100 per barrel. Nigerians at that time were thinking that the reality of diversifying the economy should have come to bear at that time, where companies that were going to be involved in agriculture, real companies, mechanized farming would have taken root, and then the solid minerals would have also taken root.
Yes.
Then our steel industry also should have taken off at that time, but we didn't see all of those. Now, right now, as the prices of crude is increasing, we were also thinking that our foreign reserve will be increasing, but
unfortunately,
the foreign reserve is
dipping.
going down.
Yeah, about
So
44 billion right
exactly.
now, down from about $47 billion.
So it begins to raise the questions as to so much money going into defending the naira. So much dollars going to defending the naira.
And
so,
the CBN has continued with that. Even last week, about
exactly.
$200 million was actually pumped
into
the
market.
The market.
So these are the concerns Nigerians have generally, because the point there is, if we are having all of this, we're still not refining our crude by ourselves, then it's still going to be the same cycle, except if we're waiting for the almighty Dangote refineries that we're talking about. And the modular refineries are also not taking
And
not
now,
taking off
in
yet.
the papers this morning, of course, we read that about 20% of oil firms are to refine some 20% of crude
How much is that
difference
quantity?
is that going to make? And then, talking about the forex reserve that's been taking a nosedive in recent times from about close to $50 billion down to about $44 billion now. The CBN is saying it has nothing to do with the political climate right now. And you're wondering, is that really a true, position of things?
The Punch newspaper this morning puts it very bare. It was a rain of dollars at the Port Harcourt.
Yes, and the Bureau de Change, and they made a lot of money in the last
at our political
week
conventions.
or so.
At political conventions, a lot of dollars are not even naira this time around.
Dollars
are ruling on the streets, as the case may be. And there was a prediction, I think, a few days ago, that actually the political activity is going to make dollars more available, because you're going to have liquidity, dollar liquidity in the market. So these are some of the issues generally, but Nigerians are seeing that or analysts certainly have said that these things are not helping the system, because as far as these monies are not in the system and they are out there, it's certainly not going to make the economy more robust.
Truly, I mean, the dollarization of the political process is tragic for the Nigerian economy. And what a paradox, really. How is it that for a country that is an oil-bearing, oil-producing nation, when crude oil prices go up, it still does not translate into better life for the ordinary man on the streets? You would think that, if you sell your product for a higher price, it would mean more money, and more money for you means more purchasing power, and all of that. That will in turn affect the economy positively.
You have heard, at least we just discussed the minimum wage issue right now.
Yeah, and the experts have been saying it's not even going to solve the problem. As a matter of fact, it's going to worsen. Unemployment is going to,
as far as
be on the rise.
We don't have productivity, as far as we're not investing in infrastructure, as far as we're not building the factories, the industries. You remember in the 80s and 90s where there were lots of companies. You remember Bata? There's so many companies, companies in this country that made the economy. At that time, we were talking about the naira against the dollar. You remember all of those?
But
when they all left,
1 naira to the dollar was at par, actually.
When all of those left, and then we started depending on importation of every single thing, including toothpicks and even cotton buds and so on, certainly naira will continue to become weak.
Yet all 36 states in this country have one natural resource or the other in financial quantum. Nigeria actually, according to experts, is one of the countries that has, if not the only country, about 1,600 mineral resources in commercial quantity, and yet we're not able to maximize this natural resources that we have in large amounts.
Yeah, let's have Oluwaseun Olubu back now. I understand he's back now. He's joining us on Skype from Canada. Shina, it's good to have you join us back right now. Now, can you tell us what are some of the factors driving up oil prices right now?
Okay, in my opinion, one of the things that are driving oil prices right now, apart from the fact that, it's not about the U.S. inventory, because the U.S. inventory keeps going up. So I think that as long as the U.S. inventory is going up, it cannot be a price driver in terms of taking prices up. If anything, it's going to compress prices. So I think a major thing that is driving oil up prices right now is the fact that, apart from one thing again, is that global growth is getting better. We saw the unemployment statistics in the US a couple of days ago. The unemployment statistics shows that it's down to about maybe 47 or 48, 49 years low. And then I think productivity is firming up in some regions of the world. And then again, a major thing that has been driving prices of late is the fact that analysts expect that the US will make good its threats to sanction Iran, and as long as Iran is sanctioned, it means that there will be reduction in production the supply in the market. And once supply is reduced, then we expect prices to go up. I think that's the major thing that is driving prices at the moment.
And how is that going to impact this outlook that before the end of the year, 2 months to go, that the global economy may take a hit, a negative one at that? The IMF has actually downgraded the economic outlook globally, including for countries like Nigeria. How is this all going to play out with this increase in crude oil price?
It's neither here nor there. It can be looked at from two perspectives. It's either you look at it from the angle of a commodity seller, or you look at it from the angle of a consumer of finished products. Now, Donald Trump has chosen to look at it from two perspectives, but more so from the angle of the fact that a lot of Americans are consuming oil, and as long as the oil prices remain very high, it's going to affect pump prices. And once pump prices are affected, it's going to affect the household expenses, and it does not want to get complaints from Americans. So I just use that as an example. So it depends on from angle, the angle from which you want to look at it. So if I look at it from the angle of demand, I would say that as long as oil prices keep going up, it might affect aggregate demand, and that might affect the growth outlook for the rest of the year. Now, on the flip side, the growth outlook also can be it might not really be a threat to oil prices, because, like I said earlier, the demand side of oil price of the oil market has not been the major driver of prices of late. If anything, it has been the deliberate attempt of OPEC to cut down on output of members, telling Saudi Arabia what they can bring to the market, telling Nigeria you cannot do above this, because we know that a major way of ensuring that prices remain high is to ensure that you do not have supply gluts.
And at the same time, Oluwaseun, at the same time that Nigeria's forex reserve is going down, crude oil price has gone up, which means we're making more earnings. Help us understand this. At the same time that Nigeria's forex reserve is going down from about $47 or so billion now to about 44, and still likely to go down even further, we're making more money from crude oil. Help us understand this confusion here.
Yeah. Ordinarily, when you have more money from oil, you should have increase in your foreign reserves. But foreign reserves is not just a function of what happens with foreign reserve is not just about oil. A lot more other things so the foreign reserve is made up of what you get from oil and what I call hot monies. That is foreign portfolio investment. And so because we have elections coming very soon, a typical thing that happens in the years penultimate to election or even election years is for you to see fund reversals, to see those who had investment, if you like, portfolio investment, be it in bonds or in the equities, the maybe advanced economies. You see them taking their funds to safety because they are not sure what's going to happen with the economy, because an economy typically becomes more fragile anytime the election is coming or is around the corner. It's a lot even more worrisome for them when they cannot pinpoint the direction of policy, when they are not sure what direction will be. So it's not unlikely that the reason we are having reduction in foreign reserve is down to foreign portfolio reversals, and not also forgetting the fact that we are perpetual consumers in Nigeria. So what we do majorly is to consume, and then our appetite for imported products, maybe bitter as it may sound, is the truth. And as long as we import anything and everything, and what we are going to import, we're not going to import in Naira, we're going to import in dollars. So it's going to affect our foreign reserves.
All right, as oil output dropped in Iran, Venezuela, and Algeria, it increased in Nigeria, for instance, from 1.5 million barrels per day to 1.7 million barrels per day. There's also increase in Saudi Arabia. There's also increase in Iraq, as well as in Libya. Now, how can Nigeria take advantage of this increase in price of crude oil right now to better the economy?
Well, Michael, you are putting me in a very difficult situation right now, because we all know what the thing has been. We really cannot talk about this in terms of policy direction without having to go back to politics. So politics has a lot to do. And I listened to your conversation with the last guest, and you made a very good point that you really cannot separate governance from politics. Now you begin to talk about policy direction when politics. So, and of course, it's people that are in government that can talk about it. So it's down to political will. It's down to this. For example, there's nothing bad in if our benchmark price, oil benchmark for the budget is $50, for example, and as we speak, we have $80 per barrel. So it means that we should have enough elbow room in terms of excess to deal with other critical sectors of the economy. We could have projects that you can name after SS Crude. You can say SS Crude Bridge, SS Crude Road, SS Crude. So that way, to siphon such funds becomes difficult. But again, the political will has to be there. Like I was saying some months ago also, that one way you can make a very good statement with some of the funds being recovered from maybe some political thieves is to ensure that some of these monies are recovered and are used for some project, and they are named after. You can even name them the name of the thieves.
All right, that one will really take the cake. Oluwashina Olubo, thank you very much speaking to us via Skype there from Edmonton, Canada. Of course, we have heard from experts that there's looming recession if things, don't get fixed quickly. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Ngozi. Thank you so much.
All right.